Hello, my name's Tim, welcome to Tim Burridge Reads, and today I'm going to be talking to you about Hell for Hire by Rachel Aaron. So, Hell for Hire is a self-published urban fantasy that I've read in September for kind of my attempt at Self-Pub September. And this is an urban fantasy, so it's about magic, but it takes place in our world. The fantasy parts of this look at demons, witches, warlocks, and a new god. So, in this world, 5,000 years ago, Gilgamesh, from the ancient Sumerian tale, the Epic of Gilgamesh, conquered gods and took over heaven and is immortal and has used that reign, his 5,000-year reign, to stamp out all magic, apart from that uses his magic, and took out the demon queens and banished all the demons to hell, and rules heaven with an iron fist. This sees the story of a man called Adrian, who is a witch of the Blackwoods, who are in like New England, Salem, witch trials, that kind of thing, and he's a boy witch, which is rare because all other men, young boys born into the Blackwoods, are given up to Gilgamesh, basically, to become warlocks and trap demons and things like that. But Adrian rejects that, and now he is moving to Seattle to set up his own forest, his own Blackwoods, and he knows that Gilgamesh and the head of the warlock cabal of the Northeast, a warlock called the Spider, they're going to come get him because he's standing up to them. So what does he do? He hires protection, and he pays a lot of money for protection given by these freed demons. And the head of this group is a demon called Bex. She has giant horns coming out of her head. She has a mysterious past, and she is hired to protect Adrian for, I think it's for about a month, because he needs to grow his forest. And for the witches, it's very much like druidic magic. They get it from nature, and he has incredibly powerful magic, but it takes time to get ready. And that's the setup, right? Bex has got some stuff in her history. Adrian has got some stuff in his history. And will the two get along? Will the two succeed in their mission? Will she get paid? Things like that. So that's the setup. And I loved the world building in this of following this group of demons, and you find out more about demons throughout, as Adrian does, because he has lived a fairly sheltered life in the forest of the Blackwoods. And being a witch, he knows stuff about his stuff really well, but doesn't know anything about the demon stuff, while Bex the demon knows loads about demon stuff, but doesn't know anything about the witch stuff. So they both have the opportunity to explain to each other, and us, the reader, how all this magic works. And all of this happens really organically. There is no info dumps. And every time I learnt more about the world, I was more and more interested. Everything about this world, the world building, the setup, how the demons work, how Gilgamesh up in heaven works, how the witches work, how sorcerers work, how warlocks work. So warlocks capture demons, and they have to do what the warlock says. And so Beck spends a lot of time going around and freeing the demons, and that's what kind of gets her on the radar and all this kind of stuff. And I really enjoyed the world building. I thought it was really interesting. I also even had a thing for how come us normal people don't see any of this? And that's because if that happens, you get what's called kicked, where you get kicked into a parallel dimension, and it's fine. You're only there for 5 minutes. And then you kind of get brought back into the real world, by which time the person has forgotten about it. The problem is that this parallel dimension is full of demons that want to rip you limb from limb. So can you survive the 5 minutes is the thing. And that was super interesting when that happened. Yeah, so with that's the world building. The world building is super interesting. I really enjoyed that. The plot itself was all about to the tension of, will Adrian be able to get himself ready? Because they are coming, the bad guys are coming. And then Bex has a load of stuff going on with her, and we find out her backstory throughout the story. And she has a load of stuff going on. So I would say at the start of the book, Adrian is the main character. And at the end of the book, I would say Bex is the main character. So they kind of come together well. And it was great. It was really, really good. Character-wise, Adrian and Bex are the stars of the show. I would say Bex is probably the more interesting character because she just has so much going on. And I'm not going to spoil that, but she's been around for a while and she's experienced lots of things, and it's all about a current mental state is not where it needs to be for her to achieve what she wants to achieve. And she goes through an arc. She goes through a really, really strong arc and comes out of it the other side, a different kind of character. While Adrian, his progress is about his forest, and his is much more of an external arc in terms of he just has to do the thing that he sets out to do. That's what his character story is. So it's very kind of externally motivated, while Bex's is more internally motivated. So they both work. They both work really well together. There's some other characters. There's some other demons who Bex is kind of part of her gang. She's got 3 main demons with her. One of whom is like a lust demon, so can change shape and form to suit whatever they're looking to do. That's one thing, is demons eat emotions. So the lust demon eats lust. So they go for lunch, but they don't go to. They may go out on a date. Maybe. And then you have a wrath demon who can't go out and like cause wars, which would usually feed them. So they just play video games online and like troll people, and they eat the gamer rage, which I think is quite funny. And then there's a void demon who just, their main attack is just touching someone and realizing that nihilism is the true way of life and everything we do doesn't matter. Like really, really, it's kind of play for laughs, but it can actually be quite horrible, and it's really interesting. And I'm looking to see more of those characters. As we got to the 3rd act, the side characters disappeared and was really about Bex and Adrian, which is fine. Oh, and also Adrian has a cat, a talking cat called Boston, and he's a black cat, and he's very, very know-it-all, and it's pretty funny. So I really enjoyed the side characters. I really enjoyed the plot. I really enjoyed the main 2 characters. I really enjoyed the world building. So this is a 5-star read. Like, I think this is tremendous. I haven't read a ton of urban fantasy. I haven't read a ton of self-published. That's part of what I've been doing, trying to read more. This is the first self-published book where the author didn't contact me. I knew someone who was like, oh, it's 99p on the Kindle store, so I bought it because I knew the name of Rachel Aaron. Now, how did I know the name of Rachel Aaron when I hadn't read anything by her? Because she had a series of blog posts, and she turned it into a non-fiction book called 2K to 10K, which is how to go from writing 2,000 words to writing 10,000 words a week, a day, whatever. And it was about the production of writing, and writing quickly and writing effectively. And it was very much like plan. She was very much a plotter, And one thing that was great when I was writing, I wrote a book. I wrote a book, and I used her blog to kind of help me get through it, tips and tricks and how to plot effectively and when to spot when something's going wrong and all that kind of thing. And it was a really, really good blog. And then she stopped writing it because it was taking up too much of her time, and she wanted to focus on writing. So she could have gone the way that a lot of self-pub authors have gone, not all, a lot of self-pub authors who have gone the non-fiction route, and they write about writing, and they write to sell you a book to help. This is the one book that you need to get you to become a published author. She didn't go that way. She was like, I want to write. That's why I'm here. I want to write fiction. So she's carried on with her fiction writing. And she has been traditionally published, I believe. I think she had a fantasy trilogy and maybe a sci-fi trilogy traditionally published. I think. And then she decided that she wanted to go self-published. This was tremendous quality. There were no typos, no funky sentences, nothing like that. The prose was perfect. This is the best quality self-pub book I've read. And I think that's because this is a different kind of self-pub author than I've previously read. So the others, I feel, having read them, this is just from my feelings, I haven't done a ton of research, but they are people who are getting into writing. While this feels like an author who knows exactly what they're doing, and they've gone the self-published model so that they could put out more books and make more money and make themselves more money and write exactly what they want. You know, she produces 4 books a year, Rachel Aaron, and this is 350 pages. I think they're all pretty similar length, full-size novels. She produces 4 of them every year, and she cranks out the series. Every series seemingly seems to be 4 or 5 books, a couple of trilogies, a couple of duologies, stuff like that, but kind of comes in, writes a series back to back to back to back to back, done, moves on, next one. And you could just read her books. She has quite a big back catalogue, and I really, really recommend her books, like for having read this one. And she seems to, you know, have a well-functioning business model on this. You know, she isn't someone who wants to be a writer and has decided to put something out. She knows she is a writer, and so is putting stuff out. Different level, I think. Yeah. So I really, really recommend it. 5 stars from me. Let me know in the comments below what the best self-pub book you have read. And give us a thumbs up, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Now, get out of my house!